Hello and welcome to some more of my thoughts. Now, I've been rather busy and so I haven't been able to do many of these videos, but it doesn't mean that I have stopped thinking. Of course I'm thinking all the time, and so should you be. Now, I was having a talk with my elderly mother, and she was talking about the new buzzword being thrown around in the New Zealand Parliament anyway, of the climate emergency. There is no real emergency, but it's a buzzword that they want to hype up. Obviously, the medical emergency that we've had over the last couple of years is finally coming to light in a wider and wider public to the nature of the scam that it always was. And I'll talk a little bit more on some newer findings on that whole area, but in another video. This climate emergency is just another scam, just to control us more and to do all sorts of things. At the moment, they seem to be busy around the world shutting down oil refineries and prohibiting oil exploration and all that to make things a lot more difficult on the energy front, to try and push the green stuff in. It's all just a big scam. Now, remember I told you about the whole basis of the supposed global climate emergency, because they can't call it global warming anymore because it's proven that that's a total farce. So they're calling it a global emergency in whatever intangible way they want to push it on the day that they want to push. It's all basically the biggest card that they're trying to play to try and get your confidence to then rip you off and then plan their escape, is that of carbon dioxide as being a greenhouse gas. What they don't tell you is that well over 90% of the greenhouse gases is water. It not only warms the atmosphere, but it also cools the atmosphere. It's self-righting. And of that small percentage of other greenhouse gases, supposedly, carbon dioxide is one of them, and ozone was another, I think. And of the other ones, it's rather difficult for them to police, like methane. They can't really prohibit cows from farting or swamps from making methane gas. They can't outlaw swamps, of course. And so the whole focus is on the carbon dioxide, because when we burn fuel, whether it be firewood, a fire, or gas of any description, it burns stuff and liberates carbon dioxide. So they think, oh, here's something that we can control, that we can make it difficult for people to live without, which is the fuel that we have. Remember me in another video talking about ozone being 180 degrees about face on the reality of the truth. The truth is, when they were saying that we need more ozone, it's actually we need less ozone. Ozone, remember, is only a byproduct of the protection that oxygen gives us in combining O1s and O2s into O3s, which is ozone. And we want those O3s to break up over Antarctica every year to liberate more oxygen to repeat the protection process next year when the sun comes out. Now, carbon dioxide is exactly the same. It's a 180% or degree about face of the reality of things. Recently I watched a video by one of the founders of Greenpeace. Now, he has matured somewhat, and now in his old age he has left Greenpeace because of all the politicking and the lies that they are basically trying to and helping to spread. Now, he did a section which I entirely agreed with, and he put it succinctly that when you think about it, carbon dioxide in the air only accounts for 8 parts in a million or something. It's very, very small, the carbon dioxide. In fact, it's so small that plants actually have a difficult time getting enough of it. Recently, they are studying a lot more about fungi and bacteria, and it turns out that carbon, as in carbon dioxide, carbon is so scarce and readily available to the plants because that they negotiate with the bacteria and the fungi to get carbon dioxide from them, and the fungi get in return carbon mixtures as well, because the plants need carbon to make glucose, the sugar storage, the energy storage method that they use. Energy is captured by splitting water, and I'd love to do another video on that another time about photosynthesis, but the storage of that energy is stored with carbon chains, 8 carbon atoms with hydrogens and oxygens and all that. We'll look at that later. And so it needs carbon dioxide, mostly taken from the air. But they also negotiate with bacteria and fungi to get more carbon because they can't get enough from the air. So in actual fact, we have a deficit, a shortage of carbon dioxide in the air for plants and algae and things like that to grow. In fact, many hothouse growers who grow cultivations of vegetables often seal their greenhouse and pump carbon dioxide into the greenhouse, hermetically sealed, to increase the growth of the fruit and veggies that they're growing. There is a shortage of carbon dioxide, not an excess. And when you think about it, the carbon dioxide that is available to plants, if given the chance, will slowly but surely disappear until we have no vegetation left. Fossil fuels, when you think about it, are a product of the plants of the past taking carbon dioxide from the air and converting it into hydrocarbons. Well, the hydrocarbons is basically petroleum products. They're chains of carbon with hydrogens and other things in it as well. All of that fossil fuel that is under the ground is carbon dioxide that has been captured. All of the coal that is down there, the oil and the gas that is there, is basically a product of a long period of time of plants capturing the carbon dioxide and storing it and then making it unavailable to the living plants. The plants, by taking in carbon dioxide and making wood and other things that consume the carbon, then they die and the carbon goes into the ground, makes that carbon unavailable in the air for other plants to grow with. That's why they tend to negotiate with the bacteria and the fungi to rescue some of that carbon from the soil and give it back to the plants so that they don't have to get all of their carbon dioxide from the air. I repeat, there is a deficit, a lack of carbon dioxide, not an excess. So it is actually logical and good for the planet, in fact better for the planet, for us to burn those fossil fuels to get the carbon from the hydrocarbon storage back into the air, into carbon dioxide gas, so that the plants can use them for their organic processes and therefore keeping us alive, themselves alive, and the planet alive. The scam that they are perpetuating or pushing at the moment, just like the ozone, just like global warming and all the other scams, is 180 degrees back to front, about face from the reality. We do not need to reduce carbon emissions. We can happily increase carbon emissions to liberate more carbon dioxide for the plants to eat and get it out of storage under the ground and back to where it's useful. So therefore, there is a sort of a sinister agenda, if you like, to shut down the world by shutting down and discouraging the burning of fossil fuels. They are doing damage to the planet and robbing us of the riches that we are able to enjoy to live a pleasant life. So watch out for it. Whenever they say the carbon credit system and reduce carbon emissions and blah, 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 think about it. We need more carbon dioxide to feed the plants, which are having a difficult time at the moment getting enough carbon dioxide to grow with.